Okay, perfect. So first of all, I would like to know more information about you and the team. So briefly tell me how you came to the NIM and how many people work at NIM right now.
So I will start with a quick intro about myself. So I'm Nate. I'm co-founder at NIM Network. I've been building in the space for almost 5 years now, mostly within the intersection of gaming, kind of cutting edge infrastructure, which includes ZK and those type of things. Before we started the NIM, part of our team was originally the core team of Matchbox DAO. It was a venture studio. We raised almost 7.5 million from 1KX, Bitcraft, Starkware, other leading VCs and companies. The other co-founder, which is Yoni, is an OG in the space, has been building, investing, leading teams for almost 10 years now. He's been in the Ethereum ICO. That's in terms of the founding team. In addition to that, we have 4 engineers, which are coming from a versatile background. Some of them are purely front-end. Some of them have been kind of a full-stack blockchain engineers, which include also back-end and smart contracts. Also, we have AB, which is our CFO. He's also leading the Discord comma. So I guess most of you have interacted with him if you were on Discord. And a couple of other people who are helping us on business development. Some of them are core team members, some of them are advising us. So that's kind of the overview. The way NIM has been created, so it was almost like it grew out very naturally from Matchbox, which, as I said, it was a venture studio focused mostly on fully on-chain games. So the idea behind fully on-chain games was that instead of creating a Web 2.5 version of games, which only have like NFT and token assets on-chain, you also put the actual logic of the game on-chain as well. So it's almost like creating a decentralized, very pure version of what games should be like. We've been creating and working on this thesis for almost 2 years, investing in many different game projects, also investing in infra. Dymension actually was one of our investments 2 years ago. We invested in DeFi because everything was kind of connected to how we think and envision a gaming application should be worked on chain. And also we helped to develop early ecosystems. So one of them was Starknet, which we were very close to at the beginning. We helped to establish the on-chain gaming scene. And we were also working internally on different products, incubation, helping teams to kind of fulfill their go-to-market strategy. So that was mainly what we did at Matchbox. This is also something that me and Yoni did, the other co-founder of NIM Network. More than a year ago, from the many different experiments that we did, we tried to experiment with AI. We just thought how we can combine AI on the chain, on the application layer, not necessarily building like a decentralized infra, like many other AI projects are doing. And it was almost like a light bulb moment in which we said, okay, this is like an amazing and disruptive tech. It certainly comes very handy for on-chain applications, games, or consumer apps. And this is what we want to double down on. And from there on, the only goal was, okay, how can we create this ecosystem that will be mainly focused on AI applications? We saw there is a lack of aggregation of many providers which are related to AI application, which can be on the infra level, like aggregators that help with ZK verification or different development framework that can help bring on-chain agents, and also just lack of spatialized chain that is kind of creating a community and a shared source of liquidity and culture that is fully focused on AI applications. Because when we took a look on other layers too, it can be other gaming chains, it can be just general purpose layer too, we saw that they are a bit more generic in the sense that for you as an AI application, there is no value add specifically for AI. Maybe you have liquidity, maybe you have communities, but you don't have active support and active and targeted ecosystem effort to make the vision of AI become a reality on chain. So we knew quite early that we want to build our own chain. From there on, at the peak of Dymension, when it was just started to trade after a very successful airdrop launch, the team reached us because we invested in them. We already had a good connection with them. And they asked, would you like to become the first roll-up on Dymension? For us, it seems like a no-brainer. The community seems really engaged. It was at the peak. In addition to that, the infra seems reliable and was quite good for us because we didn't want to build our own chain in the sense that we are going to create the nodes and etc. because we wanted to focus on the application layer. So yeah, this is how kind of everything came together. I know that NIM is sometimes perceived as something that came out of the blue, but actually the team is quite experienced. We've been building and working on on-chain applications for years now. But NIM as a brand actually came into the world just 4 months ago, something like that.
So how many people, 4 or 5 full stack developer, and some people help with social activity, not more than 10 people, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, people which we are engaged in day to day. There are many other advisors which providing us a lot of BD support or reaching out and sourcing different projects that then we are connected to. But yeah, around 10 people currently.
What the main purpose of NIM? What problem are you solving? Before you start to answer, just do it I'm 5 years old.
The vision of NIM is not clear enough to many people, and we are currently putting a lot of effort to clarify that. We think products and launches will be the best way to actually show the value. But for us, the thesis is very simple. When you are currently looking at AI, and specifically open source AI, you see an amazing pool of talent and innovation. Many of leading AI models today are actually fully open source models. Obviously, you have examples of Llama 3, which is developed by Meta and Facebook, and this might be not the best example because you say, okay, there are a lot of funding goes into open source, but it's actually by big enterprises. But actually, there is a very strong movement, which is quite similar to how early crypto communities were of completely independent and individual AI engineers and researchers and developers who are able to take those fully open source AI models and make them 10 times or 50 times better and even compete versus ChatGPT or other type of closed source models. And in addition to that, they are also able not just to compete on general activities and tasks that the chat model can do, they are able to fine-tune those models into specific use case. For us, when we are going into ChatGPT, in many cases, if we are trying to do something really specific, we need to do a lot of trial and iterations until it works well. And even then, because you have different updates and the model is constantly changing, you don't really have a reliable workflow with AI models. The way open source AI can actually bring a lot of value in that sense is that you can create something which is called a spatialized model, which is basically taking a general model and fine-tune that specifically for a use case. So what that use case can be, the use case can be, trading tokens, or it can be an assistant that is spatialized in crypto kind of data. It's understand how projects are working, what exactly the crypto language is, and then you're able to actually get informative answers when you are talking with the model or trying to perform any kind of a task. So at the same time, you see this crazy innovation cycle. Basically every day, something crazy happening in AI, and in particular in open source AI. But when you're actually looking at the crypto AI projects, you see that not so many of them are able to tap into that innovation and kind of become an ETF for AI. And on the other end, AI engineers are lack funding because Web 2 is not really good at creating business models or economic system around open source AI. So the NIM vision is quite simple. We want to become the AI innovation hub of crypto and basically become the largest pool of AI talent and AI innovation within crypto by funding, creating applications, and build a community of users and AI owners around this type of AI models and applications.
I thought what you help game developers to make the computer opponent that plays against you become smarter. For example, if you play in Heroes of Might and Magic, the opponent doesn't sit on the base, they actually play very well. Can you do like this or not?
You mean AI that can play games?
The game developer, when they create the game, the main leak of his game, but opponent, the computer always play not so good. He plays like stupid idiot. Will you help this game developer to make AI stronger or not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's, I think, one of the most interesting angles that you have with today with games, right? When you're interacting with NPCs or you are playing against the computer, when the game is complex, let's say it's happening in open world like GTA or any other kind of thing, usually like those type of bots are really stupid. They're not smart enough, and it doesn't feel like you're playing versus actual human. So the way AI solve that is like in two ways. First of all, you can create a data set from the game and train the AI to play in a very high level. It can be like a master of the game. But on the other end, you can also, this is something that's happening today with many other kind of game developers. You actually can train the AI to imitate and play in your own unique gaming style. So in that sense, like think about it as like you are coming into the game and you kind of can create an extension of you, which is like an avatar that can play on your behalf when you cannot play or any this kind of a scenario.
Understood. And so, for example, if I would like to, for example, train very good poker player, how can I use your service, your application? Is it possible or not?
So specifically in the case of poker, because it's more like a game theory, mathematical game, you probably like using an AI model, I mean like a generative AI model, probably won't be a good direction because you need something which is more like a statistical model. This is not exactly what we are doing. You can use AI as a tool that can also like extract data and talk with like statistical models and then get into a decision. But AI is basically just a mind. We are thinking about an AI as like a control center that can use different tools to reach a specific decision of a game action. The current issue that you have, let's say as a game developer, in any kind of game, you created your own game, you want to create like an AI extension of it, basically giving the ability for AI robots to play the game. The main issue will be that probably you are not an AI expert, you know how to develop games very well, but you don't know how to train AI to play your game. So the way we envision NIM as something that can solve that issue is that you as a game developer or any application developer can come into the, let's call it the NIM ecosystem or the NIM marketplace that will have many different kind of engineers or models, and then basically request the ecosystem or the AI platform that we are building to create your own model that can play your game. And this is how potentially any game or any person or any entity that would want to create this like AI property of their game will be able to utilize NIM, a pool of talent and ecosystem to do that.
You have launched your token on Dymension. Why did you choose them over Initia, for example, or maybe other similar project?
We started talking with Dymension almost, I think it was 5 months ago or 4.5 months. Back then, Initia or Saga, which is both of them are kind of competitors of Dymension or doing similar stuff, weren't as ready as Dymension. Right now, Initia only launched their testnet. Dymension had the testnet up and running for almost a year before they launched their mainnet. So that was one reason. The other reason was that we were just very excited and kind of appreciative in the way Dymension launched their chain. One particular and unique thing that Dymension did, and this is, I think, one of the biggest reasons why they have really strong community, is that they were almost pioneers in the idea of doing an airdrop. But the airdrop is not just something that you are giving to your own users, but you're actually targeting a very high quality communities within crypto, and you're just like basically trying to onboard them by giving them tokens. So there were Pudgies on Dymension, there were people from Celestia that got the Dymension airdrop. I think Madlads and Bat Kids, a lot of high quality communities that I think contributed a lot to the success of Dymension. Also, another thing that we really liked about Dymension is that I think this is like, relatively speaking, one of the most organic non-VC projects that you can find, especially on Cosmos. They raised a very small amount from VCs. The allocation they gave to VCs was quite minimal. And most of their growth came just from community and doing the airdrop and just building in the public. So in terms of like ethos and values, we felt like NIM want to be very similar to that. This is the type of really raw and organic community that we want to have on NIM as well.
Okay, can you tell us your short and long-term plans?
For the short term, we are going to launch probably by the end of the month or even early next month, the first tokenized AI model on top of NIM. Before you ask that, like we talked about what we want to achieve with NIM and how we kind of connect in between AI talent to Web3 funding. So for us, in order to onboard AI talent, we believe that we need to provide ways for AI engineers to monetize their model. Let's say like I'm in India or in an Asian country and I don't have so much resources. I created an amazing model. We want as a crypto community to provide those engineers the ability to monetize their model, basically tokenize the model. And on the other end, for our community, we want to provide an actual mean to own part of the AI economy. An AI economy at the end of the day is just the model. So the framework that we are working on will basically provide our users and community and other people the ability to get a share of an AI model and also get a share of the potential revenue and success of the model. And on the other end, for AI engineers, they will be able to get funding or to monetize their own work or get better distribution, which all of them are currently lacking within like the open source AI space. So the model will have a specific use case. We still haven't revealed that, but it's going to be quite exciting and innovative. It's going to involve many different communities within crypto that will be able to access that, and it will provide them utility. The mechanism that we will use, I don't know if you're familiar with, but a couple of months ago, Morpheus, which is a decentralized AI project, launched. We are going to use a very similar locking drop mechanism to distribute the token. So the AI model will be 100% community owned, completely fairly launched, and completely fairly distributed to capital providers and people who would want to participate in that. So this is for the short term. For the long term, we want to create a flywheel mechanism in which we constantly onboard new applications that can use different AI models that we bring from the AI talent. And all of that will be kind of in a Tau style emission mechanism that will provide for certain stakers within the NIM ecosystem the ability to decide how we should allocate the NIM emissions, basically. So the NIM emissions will be mainly used to fund AI projects and AI development for the ecosystem. We think that those two combined will provide this flywheel of funding and monetization of AI and also applications that are coming and using those type of models.
You know, sometimes shit happens. In what case will you have to close the project? What should happen?
We have a really good runaway of couple of millions. Everything is fully liquid. It's located on our multi-sig. Also, if we still can raise more money if we need to, our current burn rate will give us if we will expand our team, I don't know, twice or something like that, we still have significant runaway for the next couple of years. So I don't see any chance in which we are closing down the projects. We are committed. We think we play the long-term game, but also we are playing a short-term game in the sense that we constantly want to talk about the bigger vision, but to deliver different milestones that make us closer to that and give something to the community, because we cannot just expect people to be patient and wait for 2 years or 3 years. We need to deliver something on a monthly basis or even weekly basis, hopefully.
What exactly do you see in the next 6 months? I mean, what product will you show to the world?
For us, I think that we want to make NIM a hub of AI innovation, and we think the competitive edge for us would be providing models and AI capabilities that are just not existing anywhere else within the crypto market and potentially also within the Web2 market. So we believe that within the 3 to 6 months, we will be able to demonstrate and prove that thesis, that there is an explosion of AI innovation. And the only thing that you need in order to get that is just collaborate very well with talented AI engineers. What you should expect is that almost hopefully even on a weekly basis, we will be able to release more and more AI models and capabilities that are almost like a game changers. And it's not something that any user have seen before, with exception to really strong AI people who familiar with that a little bit. But for normal users, standard users, that would be completely new.
Okay, let's talk about the token launch. How do you think you made mistake, or are you satisfied with the launch, and what you do differently? if you have a chance?
Obviously, the expectations regarding the NIM price and how successful the launch will be were extremely high. I saw people talking about 3 billion FDV and 5 billion FDV and those type of ranges, which were kind of realistic. What happened behind the scenes is that because we decided to be basically the first roll-up on Dymension, we also experienced all the possible bugs and malfunctions and errors that comes with launching the first on a new kind of technology. One of the biggest issues that we had, and in retrospect, I wished we were able to kind of take an extra week, is that we worked very closely with the launch with the Dymension team, and we appreciate them very much. They did an amazing work. But some of the components of the chain weren't tested enough, or at least we didn't manage the expectations quite well. So there was issues with the bridges, and there were issues with the UX, and all of that happened because we had a crazy amount of activity. We had dozens of millions of RPC requests every second, and a lot of people try to make bridging and etc. One issue that I think we didn't communicate well enough is that at one point we saw that the infra is just it's going to take maybe a couple of days to start stabilize everything. So we almost forcibly forced into a point in which we are doing a launch, but it's more of a soft launch and not full launch as people were expecting. So one of the things that were related to that is that we didn't deploy enough liquidity on the Dymension DEX. And on the other end, because we secured a couple of exchanges way before the launch, but because they didn't have enough time to test everything out, we had a couple of delays. Again, usually it takes maybe a couple of hours to have those integrations with exchanges, but because the Dymension tech was very new and immature, it caused certain unexpected things. So I think that was the main issue, that we didn't deliver the listings fast enough, and we didn't deploy enough liquidity on the DEXs initially. I think within a week or so after the launch, we have a market maker, everything is managed here. So we did deploy a lot of liquidity into the pool. We did secure listing on exchanges. We are still working on other fronts to increase liquidity and the exposure of the token to different communities. But I think that was the main issue. And also we spent almost 1 month working very closely with the Dymension team just to solve all the issues, from the Explorer to the UX, which wasn't great enough at the launch, and the EIBC client and etc. So it also took us a lot of time and work that we would prefer to spend obviously on our applications and not on the infra, because we are not the Dymension. NIM is a chain on top of Dymension, but the Dymension infra is not handled by us. It's not developed by us. So it was a bit frustrating, but that's part of the decision that we made to basically be the first.
Tigran from the chat is asking, how do you plan to increase, or when do you plan to increase TVL on Dymension Hub? Because, for example, it's look like not more than $16,000 now TVL. Is it true or not?
I'm not sure about it, but currently we have one application running, which is the AI game we developed, and the AI game is not requiring a lot of liquidity. So there is no currently a DeFi system on NIM. So there is also not a reason to put a liquidity to have to increase the TVL just to show, we have a TVL. What does the TVL is not representing is the actual NIM that is currently on top of the chain. So the TVL only refers to other token assets like USDT or Dime or USDC. Some of them, for example, Dime doesn't have any utility. You cannot use Dime to play applications on NIM. There is no reason to do that as well. But I think that when people will see the launch of the AI token and the tokenization framework, they will get a better sense of how we think about TVL and how they should measure that in regard to NIM.
But the problem is that if token doesn't have much TVL, it easy manipulated. The market maker can destroy your token if the TVL is not good.
So let's distinguish between the two. There is the TVL, which is how many people are bridging from the Dymension hub to NIM. It doesn't reflect in the price. or it's not related to the price action or anything else. And there is the amount of liquidity that is, like, for example, on the DEX, which is another thing. So currently the amount of liquidity on the DEX is almost 500,000. Last time I checked, it's quite a lot, especially for the current FDV. And in addition to that, we have liquidity deployed in very great extent, again, much more than what we need on the centralized exchanges.
Do you have any plans to list on other exchanges like Bybit?
We've been talking and still talking with all the major exchanges, including Tier 1, including Bybit as well. We are talking with everyone. When we just launched NIM, the market was crazy. Like, it was a lot of influx of new tokens to try to get listed. So the action from the exchanges was just to charge and ask for almost like unreasonable conditions. So in some cases, we had the option to list on more exchanges, but we thought if there is no clear value add here, I mean, getting more demand or getting, like, let's say, organic retail inflows to the token, there is no reason just to list on another exchange to just, put a check mark on that. So for us, we actually think that a better way to deal with the current market, and again, just look at what's happening now with ZK Sync. They are listed on Binance. The current FDV is 5 billion. Everyone were expecting much higher. I think that people realize that this whole play of pumping up your valuation and then doing an airdrop, this playbook is no longer a good playbook. For most of the people, they are just getting, the token launch in a very high price. There is no reason for them to get into the token price when it's so high. Even on 5 billion, it's still quite high. So what's happening is that basically the market's correcting themselves and going back into what we saw at the beginning of crypto. ICOs, democratization of investments, everyone can get an access to a token, not like in the public round, which take place 5 years after like the token raised money, but actually taking place at an early stage and kind of have like a value adjusted to the risk. So I think for us, we would actually prefer to go much more organic and to reach out not the consumers that are located on the exchanges, but the actual DeFi and crypto natives who want to get access to the token. So that will be kind of our playbook, I think, moving on. But obviously, when we will have strong catalysts and we will think that we will be ready to go into more extensive listing on bigger exchanges, we will do that as well. Like, we are not rejecting any idea in that regard.
So what is the value of the token, and could it become an airdrop token?
We as a team, we have really strong position regarding that. We think that the airdrop and staking meta is kind of dead. Cosmos specifically, you had the TIA airdrop, and then Dime came afterwards, and etc. And we have this like loop of airdrops. But airdrop as a strategy is very hard and not necessarily sustainable, and sometimes can cause like the opposite effect, in which you are so much like, targeted and focused as a community or as a team to deliver those airdrops. And sometimes along the way, you're actually starting to deliver projects that just, trying to give an airdrop, and the airdrop is not significant enough. And then people are like, okay, but the whole utility of the token is that I'm going to get an airdrop, and this is how my APY will be reflected on that. So we don't think it's a good and sustainable strategy. Obviously, any kind of a project that would wish to get like the NIM community and ecosystem support or foundation support would need to take our community into consideration, which also means maybe providing allocations. But we don't want to promise that if you hold NIM, you're going to get 100 airdrops. For us, it's more important to provide even one airdrop within a year that will be 10 times more significant than 20 or 30 different kind of low value airdrops. So this is how we also currently working with partners, targeting high quality rather than quantity. So we will probably proceed in the same way.
Now, what is the value of the token right now, or maybe in the long term?
when we will release the full details regarding the tokenization framework, people will see that basically owning and staking NIM token gives you much more AI ownership, which in some sense you can think about this like an airdrop, but it's not exactly that. But as much as you own more NIM and you stake more NIM, you will get more access to AI ownership, which means you're getting more allocation in tokenized models that we are going to work on, which is the main IP or main value proposition of NIM. And in addition to that, this is the other long-term vision. We want to, at the end of the day, establish NIM as this community-driven AI ecosystem that basically the community decides by itself which kind of projects they wish to fund and how they want to get rewarded based on that. So you need to keep in your mind that, like, let's say within a few months, we will start rolling out and implement a new governance mechanism that will basically give certain community members who are staking enough NIM the ability to decide how the NIM emission will be targeted and directed for which kind of projects and which kind of funding. So I think that will be kind of the long-term value of NIM. And obviously, the NIM token is basically an extension, and this is how we want to almost make that an extension for how much you believe and you want to have exposure into the future of AI. And for us, like, that's the main strategic goal, constantly position NIM on the cutting edge of AI.
My audience would like to know, do you have investors? And if yes, how much money they invested in your project? And what about token unlocks? So the main problem of many projects what launching right now, they don't have good stat page when you can check everything what you would like to know. For example, I would like to invest in your token, and I need more information. How much money you raised? How many people in the team? So when will be unlocks? Can you share the thoughts about it?
We actually published a couple of days before the launch a detailed document regarding the NIM tokenomics. So I also will paste the link on the chat. But in terms of locking funding, etc., so we are not doing as other projects different like KOLs, under the table deals in which people are going to get the token within 2 months or something like that. Every person who have like a vested interest in NIM will get the token, the first unlock, at the best case scenario within a year. For the team and investors, we have a cliff of 1 year and then linear vesting of 2 years. So every 1 year are aligned for long-term token value. In terms of funding, we also specified that we raised almost 7.5 million. Early investors of Matchbox are also investors of NIM. So this is how the transition made. We also raised a little bit more than that with a couple of educators, and like it's almost a strategic round, but not to a bigger extent, to a large extent. But yeah, that's in general the tokenomics. For us, we want to allocate most of the ecosystem allocation mainly back to stakers and the NIM community members. So this is how we will proceed. It's not going to be a kind of like a treasury that is just used by the foundation, but it's eventually should be fully distributed back to the community. Again, to counterbalance ownership of the team and ownership of the investors and to make it much more fair and community owned.
Do you scare that the token is go so deeply that it could be like zero? Is it possible?
You know, everything is possible, but we don't have like any so-called like systematic risk. Like, I don't know, for example, the Terra Luna mechanism in which like one pushed it down and it has like that vicious cycle. The current token is just reflecting like, mismanagement of expectations and lack of activity because we were working on the platform and wanted to deliver something substantial almost like 1 month within the launch. So I think after people will see almost like the relaunch of NIM with the platform, and again, how people need to keep in mind, we built the NIM brand and community within 3 months. We can do much more than that within a year and 6 months in terms of communication. So we are not just good at tech, we also understand community very well because again, every one of us is a crypto native. It's not new for us. We are not grifters who came from Web 2. We are people who have deep understanding of the space. We have our vision. Obviously, it's a bet. It's Nobody knows what will happen. But I think the market will also appreciate the token much higher than now. And for you guys, if you didn't buy NIM yet, it might be a good opportunity to buy the dip and buy it very cheap.
I already got airdrop and bought some when it launched. So that's why I'm talking with you also, because I have some NIM in my wallets. Also, I would like to know how many projects are working with you right now. So maybe different teams, approximately.
Yeah, before we launched the chain, we created the AI Coalition, which is basically a group of the leading gaming and AI projects in crypto. We are working with all of them. I think it has around 10 projects. It include Pirate Nation, AI Arena, Today the Game, which are doing Metaverse AI, Avail, Ocean, Olas, Joke Race, and also Wayfinder by the Parallel team, which is the AI agent tool that the Parallel and Prime ecosystem created. We are working with each one of them, obviously on different capacities. Some of them just did the launch, so we hope to resume to work more closely with them. And in addition to that, we are working with other type of teams and applications. So I would say currently more than a dozen, you can call this like BD leads of different projects which we are talking with them to deploy on NIM or to provide allocation to the NIM community. And we have our core kind of partners, which are 10 of them, which are part of the AI Coalition.
So approximately how many projects? 10, 15?
Around 20, something like that, yeah.
Let's say tomorrow, some game projects you are working with launches, and they need players to test it. How you will determine that the game is safe for the players, because a lot of scam now in game development.
Like NIM at the end of the day is permissionless, so everyone can deploy and do whatever they want on the chain. We cannot control that. But if a specific game project would want to, obviously, to get our support as a foundation or get the ecosystem support, we will do obviously like a due diligence, which will include checking the audits, checking the smart contracts. Currently, like if you want to deploy, you would probably need support from our tech team. So we would be able to get a very good and deep insight into their code base. It's very unlikely. But obviously, like if you are a game and everything went well and we checked and we know the team and the team is doxed and they're fully like secured by us, like we cannot control if suddenly someone even like external to the team will be able to inject like malicious code that will be a wallet drainer or a phishing thing or something like that. That can happen every day. It can also just happen on Twitter from people posting under your tweet. It's also, I think, responsibility of the users and responsibility of the wallet providers to provide much more secured crypto. But we have great security expert also on the team, so I don't think it's like highly likely that something like that will happen on him at that point.
Do you have audit? How many did you have audits?
For the actual roll-up implementation, which is like an EVM Cosmos chain, we made like some of that is audited by the Dymension team, which used Oak Security. Oak Security is one of the leading auditors in the Cosmos ecosystem. For our tokenization AI platform, we made an audit. Like some of that is like existing code, so it has been audited by leading auditors, and we currently doing an audit for our own kind of modifications on the contract with Bybit. I think it's kind of well covered, that specific aspect.
Where do you get resources for IE? Do you have your own video cards, or do you get them, for example, from Akash?
That's a pretty good question. Currently, we are working with a couple of really strong providers. Some of them are known, and Together Compute. They are one of the leading providers in the world for GPUs or resources for AI inference. We are also considering working with some of the deep-in projects or AI GPU projects like Atir and Akash and IO.net. but in many of the cases, they are not mature enough to handle AI at scale. So we won't use a project or a tech without testing it quite early and make sure it can scale with our needs.
How well do you know the Cosmos ecosystem, and do you have any favorite projects here?
Now it's some projects started to rebrand themselves as, we are not a Cosmos chain necessarily, even though we are using the Cosmos SDK. But I think Bira chain is a specifically amazing project, also because their innovative mechanism, and also because I think they are doing very well with their community. Celestia obviously is an amazing project as well. I met Mustafa 2 years ago in one conference of Stark, where he gave me a very strong impression of amazingly smart person, and I think they kind of they reinvented almost like a new term in the space with the DA. But those are obviously the main projects that we are excited on. I think what is exciting about Cosmos for me, I think some of the brightest engineers in crypto came into Cosmos back when it started to really boom with the idea of app chains, and also when there was the competition with Polkadot, but somehow something is very hard with value accrual within Cosmos. It seems like there is this constant cycle of a lot of hype. Some projects are leading with the way, and then suddenly it goes back and reverts, and the token value and TVL starting to decrease. So we hope we will be able to contribute a lot of this value back to the Cosmos ecosystem. One of our strategies is obviously onboarding a lot of strong EVM communities. I mean, L2s or L1s from EVM, those type of users. I think they can contribute a lot of value back to Cosmos as well. So this is how I think we might be helpful here.
What project outside of Cosmos are your favorite except BTC and Ethereum?
For example, we are talking now with the Mona team, just sharing insights. My co-founder Yoni went to the Mona. They made a summit in which they are bringing the best founders in the space to kind of discuss and share different ideas about hiring, about funding, about raising funds, building community, etc. So I really like what Monad are doing also in terms of tech, also in terms of operations. Specific AI projects that I feel very excited about, in addition to the ones that we partnered with, is Ritual, which building a system for AI, oracles or AI inference to connect to the chain, and also Morpheus that we are using their framework now for our own use with the AI platform.
So the more developers you will find, the more valuable your token and your project will be. So how do you find developers for your project?
I would prefer to think about it as how you bring developers not directly to the core team, but as the collaborators within the ecosystems.
How you attract them to develop something on your platform?
Yeah, so this is exactly what we did at Matchbox back then. Fully on-chain games were the same thing as you are talking now on, bring AI applications on chain. What we did was basically, we were able to identify a lot of talented engineers, provide them grants, working with them directly, or basically the biggest incentive is just creating groups of really talented engineers, and those engineers are already bringing their own friends or their own acquaintance to kind of come and collaborate with them. So we are going to use the same kind of tactics and strategies. We think that if you bring a really talented core of people that are passionate, they are just passionate about engineering, eventually this circle will expand and will become bigger and bigger. So we will do the same thing here. It's mainly about education, good funding mechanism, which are not just blindly providing grants to anyone who wants that, and collaborating with strong other dev communities. So we did, for example, a hackathon with Encode just a couple of I think it was 2 weeks ago. Encode is one of the leading hackathons organizer incubators in crypto. So this is one example, and hopefully we will do much more than that down the line.
A lot of company now just do something and put IE near the project. Yeah. So I would like to know how to determine that actually devs do something else, not IE. What metrics should I use to check, are you really doing IE magic or not?
That's a really, really good question. First of all, the best way to understand if someone is doing a real AI or not, or at least doing something innovative in AI, is just, use the product and then, benchmark that or compare that to what you can get with ChatGPT. If you can get better results with ChatGPT or get something which is quite similar, probably the project is just using the OpenAI API, a very simple thing, and building a UI on top of that. This is what we call a GPT wrapper. It's basically just using GPT under the hood and building a nice UI on top of that. So this is probably the best way to understand if the project is doing real AI or not. The other way that I would say for me might be a good indicator or not is to check what is the actual AI talent or AI pool of people that is participated in the project. I don't think that it's possible to build an ecosystem or a real AI application, especially in crypto, without being able to capture independent and really talented AI engineers. So the same way you will go out and check if a DeFi project is real or not by just checking who are the engineers, what they did before, did they work in other kind of good DeFi protocols? Did they do something? Did they contribute to really big Solidity code base or a DeFi open source project? If they not, probably the project is maybe have really amazing and talented early talent, but more likely they are just they're just positioning or selling themselves much stronger than they actually are. So I would suggest always to check who are the devs, what they did before, and do they actually have contributions to AI open source projects. This is also really good signal.
This is absolutely amazing, outstanding answer. So thank you very much for it. And how can I check your team easily?
Yeah, so we open our GitHub. We have a couple of private repos that we are going to publish to the public very soon. You will be able to see who are smart contract engineers, who are the front-end engineers. In our case, every engineer of our team have very strong open source previous past. I mean, people who just saw different projects, they were passionate about them and they contributed. So this is the type of profiles that you will see on our case. In addition to that, when we will start collaborating more closely with open source AI engineers, you would also see people who've been contributing to leading open source AI projects. So you will check their GitHub, you see they contributed to an AI project, and when you will check the AI project, you will see that, I don't know, it has 20k stars or something like that. And then you will be able to get a good understanding of the vast amount of talent that we try to cultivate within our team and also within the ecosystem.
We are already talking around 1 hour. You're so interesting person, and I would like to speak with you a little bit more. Is it possible or not?
I don't have another call, so we can spend a couple of more.
Because I still have some questions I prepared a little bit. Let's return to the stat page. For me, it's very important to check everything, what you made, what you are going to do. So when you will have some stat page, when I can check everything what you're doing.
Yes, so this is something that we are working now within our website. I think currently, if you want to get more information about NIM, you have the Dymension portal, which have all the details about the token value, the trading, the TVL, etc. In addition to that, just a couple of days ago, we created our own Explorer with one of our engineers. The cool thing about the Explorer is that it actually gives much more detail about all the addresses, how much is vested, how much do they stake, which I think is also quite useful as well.
So let's talk about key metrics again. So what metrics are important to you and what metrics are important to us as investors?
For us, we wanted to have NIM as a massive and large community. I think one of the most important metrics is actually the amount of activity, which even now, after we had a couple of more sleepy weeks, is still quite expensive. I also shared the Explore link on the chat if someone wants to check. So I think having understanding into the sheer size of the community, we have almost 500,000 token holders. And, you can say, okay, you did an airdrop, so that's reasonable, although like almost 500,000 did the claim. But in addition to that, we have almost more than 100,000 people who actively staked the NIM token. So those are numbers which are very big and not easy to find in many kind of projects. And I think it's also a good indication for the potential of NIM to grow even further or to utilize the community to re-engage everyone. I think that at the end of the day, the best indicator for an investor regarding NIM is just measuring how like the upcoming launch is going to impact the growth of the community, how much we're going to grow the amount of stakers, how much the token is going to appreciate in value, although it's a bit more complex. If we can provide those type of explosive movements again and again, and I think this is part of our way the team is operating, I think you can kind of extrapolate from that, okay, if NIM were able to provide those launches within like 3 or 4 months, we can kind of predict when they will be in 1 year from now. So this is what I will use to kind of analyze the project.
Did NIM make some money? And how does NIM earn? And how much will NIM earn in the next year, for example?
For example, think about NIM as you have gas fees, and gas fees are basically being redistributed again. And this is like a kind of a business model for most of the chains. But as I said before that, the question is like, okay, why NIM or any chain need like its own chain in the first place? Why you are not just a protocol on top of Arbitrum or Optimism? So that was like a deep strategic question for us. And the way we want to position NIM is that NIM is not just a chain that you need to measure it by the amount of, transaction volume or gas fees. This is not our model. This is a model that is good for execution chains that want to have like a lot of different applications. For us, what we want to focus on NIM is actually how much AI applications or AI activity NIM able to contain, and what would be the economic value of that. So one way to think about it is, for example, combine all the token value that our AI models will have, because we're going to tokenize them. Another way to think about that is maybe by sheer volume of TVL, because in order to get allocation of the AI model, you will need to basically deposit or stake STETH. So those are the two important metrics, I think. The amount of deposits, that basically the economic value that people are putting to get AI ownership, and the combined value of the AI models that we will release.
The NIM doesn't generate money right now.
Right now, NIM Foundation is not generating money. For the long term, and again, because we have great runway for us, it's more important to grow now than generate money. For the long term, the way the NIM Foundation will generate money will be maybe by taking certain amount of fees from the AI model sales or distribution, taking fees from AI that is being run on chain. So let's say like we create really good model, it costs you 5 cents to use that. NIM will have like, 5%, 10% fee from any time user is using that. Or by just NIM, also part of our the way we are currently working with partners is that like if you want to get the support of the NIM Foundation or the NIM team, you will need to allocate certain amount of your token to the foundation. So that also will be kind of a way for us to capture value and capture some part of the success of applications that we supported. So all of those are potential like revenue streams for us.
What is the main focus for NIM? To find AI developers in game developing or in DeFi developing?
I think currently AI and DeFi don't play too well because security reasons, because gas optimization, etc. It's not easy to use AI with DeFi. So main focus for us is now consumer application, which is gaming, but it can be also like kind of social fi and those type of things. We will put more focus on that, but at the same time, we think that you need to create economic mechanism to onboard AI talent and to create this AI funding mechanism. So that will be like more of a DeFi thing, but we don't need so many people to develop that. It's like an internal development.
Let's talk about your community. How do you work with your community, and Are you happy with your social media metrics?
When we announced the airdrop, we got almost 5 million impressions, which was, I don't know, twice the much that the Saga announcement got. And we are not using any kind of bots. We don't do Zelly. We don't have a quest system. Everything is completely organic. Know and understand the space and how to get KOLs and influencers to retweet about you, even without like talking with them directly. Just part of good organic marketing understanding. So we had like within the few months of launching NIM, we had like a few dozens of millions of impressions on Twitter. Every post that we are making even now has like at least a few tens of thousands of impressions. So we are very happy about it. We're also happy about Discord activity. We want to improve that because our team is not that big. I think we're currently lacking like a more indirect connection with communities. This is also why I'm participating now in this call. It's almost like a community call, and I wish to have much more of that and have our team coming and talking about different aspects of NIM. But it will take time because, again, it's all about the trade-off, right? You can build a product or you can talk a lot about that, and you kind of need to find the middle point of also communicating well and also building.
Are you planning to release your NFT collection? What are your thoughts about NFTs? Maybe you have a couple.
We currently don't have plans to release an NFT collection. With the upcoming launch of the AI model that we are working on, it can be related to NFTs. So potentially, if an external team would want to build on top of that, they will be able to use that to release an NFT collection on NIM. So that's a possibility, but for us as a team, it's currently not on the to-do list.
We have a large community, so around 6,000 people in Discord. Only 15 can understand English, but we have a large Russian-speaking community. How can we help you?
So I'm personally very excited to get more DeFi people and people who have deep understanding of liquidity mechanisms and how other DeFi projects are working. This is like currently one of the most important tasks that we have on NIM, because I think DeFi audience, first of all, mostly they are more OGs than people who just came into the space. They understand what it takes for a project to succeed and how liquidity can be built up for a longer time period. I will be really excited to get more people to talk, especially when we would launch all the details about the tokenization platform. I will be really excited to get DeFi people to engage with the NIM content, to maybe participate in discussions within the NIM Discord, or to publish threads about how the mechanism will work, and how DeFi can be related to AI. All of that will be really amazing to have within our ecosystem.
If it's possible, just send the link not only on your Discord, exactly on the chat in your Discord, where people can discuss this DeFi magic.
Yeah, definitely. We basically have currently just a general chat. Need to set up another chat specifically to discuss the kind of the AI or DeFi aspects of NIM, but in any case, I'm going to paste it here on the chat, so feel free to check it out. We have a pretty engaged community. I think every day people are talking about NIM. Obviously, there are price speculation and different type of discussions, but I would love to see more higher quality discussions every day.
That's all, my friend. Thank you very much. You're like a wall. You answer all my questions. Thank you. You helped a lot.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure to be here, and hope I can engage more with your community down the line. And feel free. DMs are open also on Twitter. Also, less on Discord. I'm not that active on Discord, but you can find me on Twitter quite easily. So again, DMs are always open.
You so help us to understand what is NIM, and I will share also when I make video in English and video in Russian. I will also put your Twitter account in the description, and it helps people to ask something. So be ready.
Amazing.
Be ready for hard question.
I know a little bit of Russian, so maybe I will need to practice it.
I can give you some special roles on my server, and you will see a lot of chats, and you can practice also.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.